What's up? What's up? What is up? And welcome back to the Dr. Ali Griffith Show, Mindset, Meditation, and Motivation. This is that space where we just get to talk about different things that happen in our everyday lives and how do we shift ourselves to the best place that we want to be. I'm excited because we are back into season 2. We took a little break because, Sister Girl had to get some mindset work, which means I take my time to do self-care, which looked like going on vacation, spending extra time with Zachary, and reconfiguring this business of mine. I should say businesses. So I'm super excited for season 2 because this is the season where I will be having lots of conversations. You will get to hear lots of conversations with different people who have influenced me and are now currently influencing me in either parenting, either in my own personal development, and or in my business development. So if they've helped me, I wanted to bring them in so you also will have access to some of their goodies, their gems. But today we're talking all about that downward spiral, that place in which sometimes we feel like if there's no return. I specifically remember feeling this way when I first got the diagnosis with my son, Zachary. He was diagnosed with being on the autism spectrum, and it happened around the age of 18 months to 3 years. I mean, within that time, all I felt was, woe is me. I felt the pain. I kind of recluse to myself. I wasn't dealing much with the outside world because it felt like if my world just was going out of complete recognition. Well, it happened a few months before when his dad and we separated. We were like post-college sweethearts, and we were together for a very, very long time. So after being married and having this child, you would think, the white picket fence and the beautiful house and all the things that we imagine, that didn't necessarily come into play. So that actually began the beginning of that downward spiral, that feeling of, oh my goodness, who am I anymore? I once thought myself as, okay, I'm going to be this wife, I'm going to be this professional. Like I had all these dreams in my head, and being basically erupted out of that began the downward spiral. Fast forward later to our separation, that spiral continued because now I'm really questioning my value. I'm really questioning, who I am as a person. And then here comes more. There's the diagnosis. There is me seeing these signs of this beautiful baby boy that I just thought was going to be this one, thing we have in our head of what they're going to become. He being told that this was no longer. So that began more of the spiral. And what I really recall is just feeling lost, like I was a shell. I was walking around, moving around in action, like I mentioned before. As a speech therapist and audiologist, I made sure he was getting what he needed. However, I was just an empty shell. I was walking around, I was smiling on the outside, but inside, complete turmoil, complete not knowing what my next steps were going to be, and almost complete at a space where I didn't even like my life anymore, to be honest. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I know, speaking to one of my clients this week who is in the process of going through that feeling of a downward spiral, and she turned to me and she asked me, Dr. Ali, how do I get out of this? And I just began to share with her my journey. And a lot of people see what they see now, not knowing that we all have a story, we all have a journey, we all have something that we went through that we felt completely lost. Like if the floor underneath us was just removed and we're just like floating there, like, oh my God, where is the floor? And our foot is basically looking for the floor. And I helped her by understanding and helping her to understand my journey. So as I share my journey with you today, definitely let me know which ones resonated the most with you. I want to make sure this is interactive. I want to make sure you're leaving your comments, sharing this podcast with others, especially those who may walk around as a shell, but we know that there's more than meets the eye. And sometimes just share it out with people so that They may not tell you what's going on, but they'll be able to say, oh my goodness, someone out there is going through what I'm going through. I feel like my life is just in a downward spiral and I'm gasping for air. I'm gasping for help. So the first thing I had to begin to learn was recognize, what does that downward spiral look like to me? And I began to see what signs, how it showed up. Now, let me just warn you, hindsight is the best sight. So I'm coming at you from looking back into that journey. So those of you who are in this journey now, use this as an opportunity to just recognize, am I in that downward spiral? Am I in that space where I'm not sharing anything with anyone? I'm pretty much always by myself. I'm choosing to be by myself. I eat my pain. I eat or not eat, because it could be the complete opposite. I eat or not eat my pain. I just see myself emotionally just eating, not even hungry, but just trying to fill this void. Some people may fill the void with extracurricular activities, whether it's too much sex, too much smoking, too much of anything, gambling, just looking for spaces, relationships, either being with too many people where you just don't want to be by yourself, or the other end of the spectrum, being by yourself so much where you don't want to be with people. For me, it looked like I just withdrew to myself. I got to myself. I didn't really want to see outside much. I would go out to work and then I would come back home. And to get to go work out or to do anything that was physically stimulating just was not interested in me. And I would sometimes just go in and go out, go to work, come back in, watch TV. Like that was it. And he would engage, he would try to do things with me, and I just was not even interested. I would engage a little bit with him, but since he was autistic, he's already in his world. So we were like two ships in the sea, like just two people, two things, two beings being with each other, but not with each other. Like the connection and the communication was very, very minimal. So if that's you right now, then just identify, that's me. Let me know, let's see how we can help you and give you some tools besides what we're doing today, some additional tools of how to move past this downward spiral. So the first thing, like I mentioned, is identifying, how does it show up in me? What does it look like? What's the physical manifestation of this downward spiral, so that I can identify when I see it coming, because it's just going to come out of nowhere. And guys, I can promise you, a downward spiral comes back again. It's not just that it happens one and it's done. We just have different periods or different triggers that will reignite that downward spiral. That's why I know everyone that's listening here have had that moment. The second thing I began to learn was to ask for help, because once I began to recognize it, I began to tell my friends, I began to get coaching, I began to tell my mom, like, don't leave me in here too long. It was a way of, hey, if you see me do this, then, call me or come visit me, or let me get myself back into a regular routine, making sure that I let others know that don't leave me alone out here on this island, basically. So hence the reason, the importance of me doing this today was so that you know that you are not out there on that island. And if you do need to reach out to someone, definitely schedule a 15-minute chat with me. I'll put the link in here. It should be bit.ly/chat-create, or you can go to my website and there's access to my calendar. And we can just talk through some of these things, help you to see what are those physical manifestations your downward spiral looks like. Number two, figure out your help source, create your support squad. Some may need mental counseling, some may need spiritual counseling. Let's just help get you clear on those next steps. And then the last thing I like to say for me is I began to really use shifting exercises. I will always call them, my shifters. And a lot of the shifting exercises came from gratitude. Now I'm super excited to invite you to my Mompreneurs on Fire live event, which is going to happen September 28th and 29th in Brooklyn, New York. If you're interested in learning some of these practices in person, if you're interested in putting together your own personal development kit, is like what I want to call it, your toolkit, then make sure you join us. Go to mompreneursonfire.com, get your ticket, and you'll learn more about how to navigate that downward spiral when you're a parent, when you're still focusing on trying to maximize your own life. And for those of you out there who want to start moving towards creating profit and moving more towards using your purpose and passion towards prosperity. So all of that in a ball, and we're going to do that in person. So I look forward to you joining us, where you begin to learn more of my gratitude exercises. So my first gratitude exercise, write down one, is as soon as I wake up, I make sure I write down or speak out loud 10 things that I'm grateful for. That's an immediate shift. Those are ways to help me to shift back into reality. Even through the downward spiral, it helps me to realize that, wait a minute, being present right now to what I am grateful for can help the process. Does it get rid of the process? Absolutely not. But if you begin to create a morning routine, and you get to choose your morning routine, some people would use prayer, some people use meditation, some may use E, all of the above. So think about, what are you grateful for? Right now, I'm grateful for having this platform where I can just use my value and use my gifts of connecting and communicating and empowering to help you that are listening and watching out there. So that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful for the ability to have the technology to do this. I'm grateful for the lessons I've been through, my life experiences, the good and the bad, to be able to be on the other side, and sometimes through the through the actual process of what's happening, and being able to just come and share it with you, so that you are not out there in that space feeling alone. So we got our shifters. We have our 10 things we're grateful for. Some of us can use some of my own meditation tracks and go into that. Another thing I love to use, and I said it before, is visualization. There's nothing like me imagining myself on that beach with that pina colada in my hand and just watching that water. It's my happy place, it's my safe space, and it's where I go to when I need to shift out of things. The last but certainly not least is that one person in my life that always makes me smile, and that's my son, right? For some of you, it might be your maid, it might be the one who, your mom, your dad, that person that as soon as they smile, it just brightens up your heart on the inside. And sometimes I'll just visualize Zachary smiling or laughing. There's something about the sound of laughter, the full experience. Visualize a full experience where you're smelling it, tasting it, you're feeling it. Everything about this visualization just feels so real that it begins to shift you into gratitude, and it begins to shift that spiral. Instead of going down, you start to come back up a little bit more towards the surface. So I hope you enjoy some of what I shared today. Make sure you listen to another podcast if you need it. There's so many different topics, and definitely keep listening for the entire season, and share it out, leave your comment. Tell me how does this one resonate the most with you, because I'm listening, I'm watching, and you help me to know what else should I do. Any other lovely topics you'd like me to talk about, definitely leave that also in the thread below. It was my pleasure, as always, to just spend a few minutes with you. And I wanted to leave you with this. Continue to be amazing in your thoughts, your words, and in your actions. Peace.